Thank you, Marianne, and thank you, Rafael. Thank you for the time today. Just to share a bit of experience as an impact VC fund. So just in a nutshell, Astoner, we're an impact VC fund focused on the agri-food sectors. So we invest in Europe and the US, and we've been going on for around 5 years plus. So we were born as an impact fund. So the raison d'être of Astoner is to invest in impactful companies that are going to have a positive impact on the people on the planet. And so we were born as focusing on impact creation, but also on ESG, because by definition, we want our portfolio companies to succeed on the long term. And so we want to make sure that they have the right ESG basis. So over the last 5 years, we've been collecting ESG data, a lot of them, not that we want to collect a lot, but because we want to support our portfolio companies on improving their ESG. So we were collecting more or less 100 data points for a VC fund, which can be seen as a lot. But this data, we're not just collecting to tick the box, but because we want to act on this data. We want to use this data because we want to improve the ESG profile of our portfolio companies. And clearly, I will say that the biggest issue over the last 4 or 5 years has been managing this data. We've been, at the time, I would have wished that we had a sweep around 4 or 5 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago, there wasn't anyone really in the space, and today you have tons of them. And the reason why we decided to go with Sweep is because first we knew many of them before they launched even Sweep. So we knew of the quality of the carbon accounting that we will find with Sweep. The beauty is that as we didn't want to push too many platforms to our portfolio companies, we wanted to have one platform that we're going to do carbon accounting and ESG. And when I say ESG is then SFDR and PAI reporting. So really pleased to have been able to manage to get Sweep also on the journey of ESG. So we that's not anymore like a carbon accounting platform, but it's the full shelf of solutions for a VC fund like us. So we can really use Sweep for carbon accounting with high quality data, but we can also use them for ESG improvement, ESG roadmap, and also really helpful for this year for the first time for the PEI that we have to report, knowing that, as you can imagine, being an impact-focused fund, all our funds are Article 9. So that's completely aligned to what we were doing. So if you think about it, when SFDR came around 2 years ago, that wasn't like a big deal in a way to us because we were already collecting many data points. So most of the PEI were already things that we were collecting. Some of them were not exactly there, but not too far. So in a way, it was kind of easy for us to report on the PEI. And that's why, I don't know if you recall, but we were expected to report for the first time last year, and it was pushed. So last year, we already collected all the PEI on Excel at the time. And we realized how difficult it was, because even if some of these PEI were not something we were collecting before, on biodiversity, for instance, because they also weirdly asked. But yes, definitely it's a challenge, the data. And I think having a platform like Sweep makes a huge difference for us, because we can really easily onboard all our portfolio companies, knowing that we have 40 plus companies. So definitely Excel is unmanageable. More importantly, we have multi-years data. So we want to be able to track this data, as Marianne was just showing as well, over time. So really having a platform is essential. And I wished we had that, 4 years ago when we started collecting all the data. That would have made our life so much easier. But the good news is that is now out there. Clearly this year was a challenge to onboard because it's a lot of data points we wanted to onboard. But I think we will be fully set for next year. And as Rafael mentioned earlier, a lot of those compulsory PAI within environment are linked to carbon accounting and to greenhouse gas emissions. So you need a platform that allow you to really feed these greenhouse gas emissions into the PEI as well. So having the two connected makes a huge difference for us. It really made our life easier this year. And clearly, as I said, as usual, onboarding the data is not straightforward, but I think we're there, and that next year will just be an easy exercise. Our portfolio companies have seen the platform, they've seen the surveys, we receive really good feedback from them on how smooth the process was. So I have no doubt that next year that will be even smoother. to go through the exercise.